Welcome to Seeing Scarlet, a random lunchtime edition because we had technical difficulties earlier in the week or last night. And anyway, we're here now today, guys. We got to get this in. So we figured let's just go ahead and do it today at lunch and stop fighting the internet battles. I saw a bunch of tweets last night. It sounds like a lot of people in Lubbock were fighting the same thing.
Yeah.
So was
So
Sibby.
it
I don't
was
know
the
what's going on in
worst.
Lubbock, but we're here now. Hopefully, we get through this. We're going to do all the normal things we do in this episode. A lot of women's basketball because that's what's going on. We'll talk about the men's basketball team as well. Some highs and lows for them right now. The women's team is, of course, 10-0. So we'll do some
Hey.
fun clips. They played 3 times since we had a show last because, bless them, they deserve a break off right now. I know they're taking finals, but they got a little bit of a week off here from games at least. They've been cooking. 10-0 is crazy for this point in the year. So good job on them. Football is going bowling soon. We
Hey.
have one of the earliest games of the bowl season, which is kind of weird. They're going to play before Christmas. I think
Yeah.
next week that game is. And we'll talk a little bit about that. And then, obviously, if you have or haven't, we did have a interview with Coach Graystone from volleyball. You can go watch that. We'll touch on that a little bit at the end and everything going on with that program. And I think that's all the things we're going to get into.
I
It's a
hope so.
lot.
I mean, we got a lot, but yeah, a little lunchtime special
A little
with
lunchtime
seeing
special.
Scarlet.
And the other
I
thing that's exciting is we're kind of, sort of 1 year old. We really didn't start until January of 2023, if we're being
That's true.
honest.
That's true.
But I do believe we put out a intro video about exactly a year ago this time. So we're counting it as 1 year
Wow.
old. Twitter told us, or X, whatever it's called now, told us that we started our account 1 year ago. So we've been doing this for a year, which is kind of crazy.
Nuts.
It's become what it is, and we're excited to turn it into something more, and we'll talk more about that. But we're really appreciative of everyone that's followed along and enjoying the journey and the cause, if you will, and is slowly understanding what we do here and joining in on that, the way that we fan and cover these sports. So we see that from y'all, and we appreciate it. So much so that we're going to do a whole anniversary episode next week. There's not a lot of sportsing happening this week, so next week will be a special anniversary episode. Maybe we'll have some special guests. Maybe we
Yeah,
won't. We'll see about
maybe
people's
we
schedules
will.
joining that have been a part of this journey over the past year. So if you're interested in being on that episode, let us know. So
Yeah.
we're open to all things.
I keep seeing emails in our email account that's like 1 year of being on,
Yeah, all the
Instagram, 1
accounts.
year
Yeah.
and they're just populating our inbox. So it is, yeah, exact date, I don't know, but 1 year of seeing Scarlet and Shelby. I'm excited for this, mostly for the stats. And then you get to talk about like the stats of seeing Scarlet. So maybe like since there's not sports going on, you can still find like some of
The stats.
the yeah, some numbers and how much we've grown and how much have people have been a part of that
Yeah.
and buying what we're selling, which is the hype of tech athletics. So it's been really cool. It's been really cool to see how people have used our material to get to games or to follow along with teams. And so I think we do have at least one person interested that'll come and talk
Ooh.
about their
Yeah.
experience with seeing Scarlet. But yeah, the ripples of this impact. I know we're a little biased. I just think it's a really cool project that we've been working on. And cheers to many more years.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Period.
Please.
Yeah, no,
That's our mission statement.
We'll keep doing what we're doing, and then keep trying to find ways to grow it as best we
Yeah.
can, because we appreciate the support, but most of all, we appreciate the impact that we've been told it's been having. So that's why we did that. So we won't stop. Let's get into it though.
Let's
Next week
do
you
it.
can join for that. We'll do more celebrating. First up, let's start with the women's basketball. They played 3 games since we last talked, so we're gonna not go crazy in depth into each one, or we'd be here for 5 hours. So we're just gonna summarize them and kind of some overall takeaways, and then we haven't really done analytics or give you an update on where this team is stat wise yet this year because it just felt a little bit too early to be doing all that. But since they're 10-0 now, have a break. We will go into this is where they stack up against other people around the country and give you all the fun stats for people that enjoy that as well. But they played UC Irvine. That feels forever ago.
I
That feels
know.
like a lifetime ago.
It's
They
been
won that
84
game.
years.
It
Yeah.
really does feel that long. And then Houston Christian and Sam Houston most recently this past week. Do you have any overall takeaways from
Yeah.
what
I
you saw
mean,
in those games?
I mean, all those games were home, so if y'all were here
It's
and
helpful.
able to go see them, yeah, very, very helpful. But yeah, I think what I've seen from game to game and looking at some of your notes that you have here, Shelby, it reflects that perfectly. But just how this team is finding their identity and how they show up and their strengths, and then also the areas that are challenging for us. But I think we're seeing the work going towards some of those challenges in such a small time frame. Like they played UC Irvine on the 29th, Houston Christian on the 1st, and then Sam Houston on the 5th. And even within those 3 games, there has been so much growth, and that is so exciting. And I know we're going to talk about all of the players pretty much because it is such a team effort.
When there's
like
3 games and there's a team this deep, everybody on the team had a moment to shine in those 3 games. So it really was a fun week. And that's why it's a fun team, I think, is they don't really seem to care. I mean, we never know for sure, but outwardly, you don't see any signs that they care who's scoring. They don't care who's making the pass. They don't care who's getting the rebound. They really just do not care as long as somebody's doing it. They only care when someone's not doing it because they want to win. That's been my biggest takeaway from the team so far. Additionally, you can actively see them getting better within games, which makes them a fun team to watch even when they're not playing well. I think I texted that to Sibby the other day. It's a weird team in that way where you're like, I'm still enjoying this game, but they're not really playing that well. And then all of a sudden, a light switches on, and then they just, all of a sudden, they're winning by 60. So it's just the youth of the team, I guess, is what that is there. And they learn quickly, and they can make adjustments, especially at halftime. They've come out and done well in all these games. But you will see in the games that we break down, I think UC Irvine, we were down quite a bit at 10, maybe early in that game. We were down at half. We got ourselves in a bit of a hole against Houston Christian early. That one we got over a little bit earlier. Sam Houston, we were in a 10-point hole at some point. So that, to me, has to stop once we get to Big 12 play, but I don't need to tell anyone that. The coaches are smart. The players know that. But if we keep doing that, those aren't 10-point holes. Those are 20-point holes in the Big 12. So that's my biggest, okay, we need to get better at this, but they keep fixing things. Like at the beginning of the year, I was like, mid-game. At the beginning of the year, I'm like, turnovers are just going to be an issue for this team. And they've gotten so much better at that at this point than I ever thought they could. Correct. Legitimately, I was like, this team's just going to struggle with turnovers. That's just what it's going to be. But these last few games, man, they're just getting so much better so quickly. And it's not I get the competition on paper. You think okay, yeah, they're mid-majors, whatever. Let's see them not turn the ball over against Big 12 competition. But I'm telling you, Sam Houston was fourth in the country coming into that game, their most recent one, in turnovers caused. They were causing 26 turnovers a game, and we only had 12 or 11. Dang. So, that's what I'm talking about, is that is really impressive to me, versus even in this one week, how much they got better. As you go back to the Riverside game, I keep wanting to call that. It's UC Irvine. There's a Riverside team that's UC Riverside as well. But UC Irvine is we went into that game very concerned about turnovers because that team is really good defensively, has been for years. They have one of the best schemes out there, and we were like, man, it's going to be a tough game for Bailey and our guards, we feel. And in that first half, it was, to be frank. I think we had 12 or something turnovers in the first half. Bailey herself had 5 in the first half, and you're like, ooh, here it is, you know? Just get to halftime. They understood it, because that is a hard team to briefly touch on that game. It's a hard team to, scout, team it, and, tell them, yeah, this is how they're going to be on defense. This is what they're going to do. Until you see it, it's hard to know it, especially as a team that hasn't been through it yet. But they learn quick, because I think in the second half, we only had 6 or 7 turnovers. Bailey herself really calmed down, only had 2 as the primary ball handler, and they instantly got better, and we go on to win that game. So that's what I'm talking about, the overall takeaways. You see that in each of these games. So that's been my biggest thing, is I just love how they learn quickly. And now the big jump is we got to start faster. But that's the next thing that they can work on, hopefully in this next game coming up next week.
And this is all we could hope for with a pre-conference season of, yes, these teams are coming in, they're causing turnovers. They're some of the best in the country to do so. And look at how we adapted. These are the learning opportunities that I hope we do have. And I totally agree with you on all of those points. It's so cool to see how much they're growing and being in in the stands there's times where I'm just like, just get to halftime. Like, I know, like, we'll work on this and we'll figure it out, but halftime seems to be where we find that light switch like you're talking about. That is so true with what we've seen so far with these games. It's just something clicks and the whole team is just playing fundamental basketball and they are so good at it. It is
It's
chef's
fun to
kiss. So,
watch.
and that's when you were talking about like, oh, it's tough to watch because we're
Yeah.
having all these challenges, but once they click, it's like, this is gorgeous. Gorgeous
Yeah,
basketball.
yeah.
10
You'll
out of
see
10.
that in a bunch of the highlights. We're just going to show the highlight packages for each game, and we have some notes on different points in the highlights, but we'll just let it play through and we'll talk
Yep.
about them. But that's something you'll see as they get better. And I know that's something that Coach Giller has wanted in our teams for years, and we'll get into the stats after we do the highlights. And this team is drastically improved in the area of assist rate. Like they're up there in the country on the amount of their goals come from assist, right? Their shots and stuff. So that's why it's a fun team to watch as they share the ball. And that kind of basketball is always pretty. That kind of basketball is always enjoyable to watch versus the isolation one-on-one play that we've kind of been forced to do in past years outside of the set plays. So it's fun to watch them share the ball, and the more they do that and protect it, the better this team can be.
Yep, totally agree.
All right, so first, let's just do it in order for the sake of our sanity.
Our brains.
We'll go all the way back to whenever this was, Wednesday of last week, I think, when they played UC Irvine. Again, that team came in top 10 nationally in steal rate, in steals per game. So it's another pesky defense we were worried about, like we talked about. But we got it done in the end. So we'll play this. This is also the Jada Wynn played her father game. Handed her dad an L. I'm sure there was emotions there, but it has to be fun for her.
It's really cool.
Talk a little smack. So I love
Under
that.
their own move.
I forgot about that.
Here is Shavers for three. Buries it.
Yeah, the game started off really well for
Shavers
us.
cut.
We can
They did a nice
2 threes
job
from Shavers
defensively
and
by Tom, pushing her out of the
Shove,
way,
and then
but opened up for
we
the
hit a little
three.
bit of a lull.
It would have been Bailey taking over the charges for Brandon Gerlich. But hey, I'm really, really proud of her. She's just a tough kid. When Tech is getting open shots.
And you'll notice right here, it skips ahead of the second quarter because the rest of the first quarter was not good for us. You'll see the score, we're down 18-11. UCI is on a bit of a run, and this is when it's kind of cool to see a sophomore, well, a couple of sophomores combine on this play. But Bailey just kind of was like, okay, fine, I'm going to take over. And she goes on an 8-0 run herself with, you'll see the 2 shots, but it starts off with a great pass to Kyla, another sophomore.
Just not hitting.
But it was a cool little moment to really get us back into the game. It was getting a little nervy.
Inside, Kyla Freeland.
What a sneak attack. That was brilliant.
And then back-to-back threes from
She's already got 4 rebounds.
this one I really like.
Comes in averaging
If she can
just
start,
under 7.
if she can start like incorporating the pull-up game, pull-up threes in
Yup.
transition. You don't see her
Pull
do that as
up,
much
Bailey.
because she's used to being a shooting guard and spotting up, but now she has that ball in her hand a lot more. So
Off it again for the
That's
lead. They
good
played
luck,
an
y'all, if she gets that
outstanding
down.
First half. Freeland
Kyla.
shows the ball, takes it straight in.
are you just gonna give her an open lane?
Girl's gonna
She
dunk
did a
it.
nice job. Lost the handle, mopping.
This is right after half now,
Oh.
so the game really
Bailey Moppin goes
changes
in
after
double
half.
digits
We
again.
play a lot more controlled in this
I've been impressed
half.
with
You'll see the
Nahum as a
passing is
freshman.
better in
She
this
has been
half,
physical,
and we start
she's
to
been
kind of
smart.
force our own. And
She
Kyla
hasn't
just
backed
always
down
forces
at
her
all.
own. It's insane.
Kyla Freeland gets her
What?
3rd offensive rebound in her.
Offensive,
here-
3rd offensive rebound, Kyla.
Yeah,
Girl.
offensive rebounding wise, we're actually one of the best in the country at that, and she is pretty much the reason why. Like, I mean, we have 2 really
Wait.
like, Shavers and Moppin are rebounding really well, but Kyla is is trying to
Kyla-
average a double. She has like 8 rebounds.
She had 13
averaging.
rebounds and she had 13 in this one.
Yeah, it was her. It
That's
was her
awesome.
maybe her second. I think they said it was her first double, but I thought she had one against Commerce. But yeah, she had a great game against UCI, and we desperately needed it. These back-to-back plays, I thought were huge growth moments for this team. We've talked about 2 things being a weakness for this team. It's size in the paint. How are we going to overcome that? We've talked about how we need to get better at help side transition, or help side defense. And you'll see Logan Johnson's on the backside here. Alina has the front side covered, but when this girl gets it, she's kind of SOL, right? But you'll see Logan come over.
Kanate dumps it down.
Yeah, that
inside.
helped.
Nice defense.
That's
job.
how we're going to overcome
That
having
disparity.
this height disparity. Arike can get in there and bang around with people. She's our best big at being able to do that right now. Merritt can definitely swat shots, and Kyla can get up there and stay in there, but they don't have some of these bigs that we're going to face have in the Big 12. And so that
Yep.
right there was a huge growth moment. And then right after this, it's the same play. I believe. In transition,
That
watch
was a
Bailey.
triple team down.
She could force this in here. And in the first half, she was. And you can watch her think about it and stop.
Down there.
And she doesn't do it. Oh, I could force this in here to the backside. Kylie cutting it. She probably could have made this pass, but in the first half, she's making it. It's bouncing off our players' hands, going out of bounds. They're so good. They're so long. They're tipping it. They're getting turnovers. Watch Bailey. Thinks about it. Doesn't do it. And then she's like, well, I have the lane. I'll take the easy play. I'll just go score.
Hesitation leads.
And gets
And one.
So call me whatever, but I saw these two plays in the game, and so I was so happy they put them in the package because it's right back. And I was like, I remember watching it being, this is what we mean when we say this team grows within a game. Is in that help side defense was there on one play. You can actively see Bailey thinking about making that pass, and saying, no, I need to take care of the ball. I have the lane. I'll just go take this. And that's where her progression is getting so much better. She's a great passer. We've talked about this so much. She's learning how to be a point guard from the responsibility side of it. Sometimes you need to make the passes. Sometimes you have to be like, we've had a turnover problem in this game. This team lives off turnovers. That's how they score. We're down in this game. I need to take care of the ball. I just need to go take the easy shot myself. I don't need to get my teammates involved right now. That's later. So that's what I saw from this moment. I loved it.
That's poetry. I think you're totally right. And what a growth, just like for a leader for Bailey. And like, y'all, she's a sophomore. A lot of these key players are still so young in terms of like
Our entire
how long
team.
how long they've been in this program. And so what you're saying, I'm totally following along with you of just, she's growing in a lot of different ways, this whole team is, and some of that mental, like, okay, I need to understand what is reality. It's XYZ, and I'm going to take it to the hoop, and hopefully that works. And it did. And you're right. These two plays back to back were such a light to that fire that ultimately led them to win this game.
Yeah, because we're down 7 at this point. She's about to get us within 4 on that, but we turned it around from there. And then coming up here is who really turns around the game.
Nice job.
See it. I love Jordan in that game, playing at the front.
Yes.
Jordan was great in this game. She's really just playing her role right now, finding where she fits in. Here's a little bit of out of control, Bailey, but saves it. And then over here in the corner, who is it?
Wide open.
Jada win her first 3 of the game.
Yes,
It was such a
Jada.
huge moment that really got us like going.
Coming out of the quarter break.
And she's going to make 2 more here in a minute. But this is great defense on this play. We go to a zone here and watch us moving our feet, staying in, force a shot clock violation.
With a chance to tie or even take the lead.
Do it to him.
Lead. Jada, look at your dad. Pointing at him. I think she's pointing at Riley McKinney, but in my head.
The show could go in and out. Kyla
Both.
Freeline gets the 2. Put up top. Nice ball movement. McKinney launch.
Do it.
Oh,
Just too fast.
I know you want to see it again this time.
I love They
try to sneak and they do.
I love that.
I was going to say
Gets the 2. We talked.
watch
Put up top.
Riley's
Nice
feet on
ball
this.
movement. McKinney
You see how
launches
fast
the
she got her feet
3.
set up?
Nothing but the bottom
I'm
of the
afraid to
net.
click back on this. I'm
I
scared.
hear you. I understand. Yeah, so like she's getting ready.
Watch
She's
how
ready for the
fast-
pass. Yeah.
She's ready for the pass. She's calling for it, but watch how fast she gets her feet set up and shoots.
Ball movement. McKinney launches.
Oh, wow.
The 3. Nothing but the bottom.
That's
It
why
was
she's
like-
such a good shooter. She
Got
gets
her other
everything
career
together really
plays
fast.
for Miami. Win.
Jada,
Catch, shoot, drain,
that's where she
finish.
comes down the court. You can't see it in that view, but she comes down the court in another view and laughs, like looks at her dad, like gives him a nod. It was cold-blooded. I love it.
By the way, that ties a season
Yeah.
high 11
And so then we just go on to close this game out. Arike just quietly does this a few times a game. When we need it from her, she'll go and get a bucket. I'd love to see that more from her. Who the heck saw Bailey mopping posting up on your bingo card in 2023?
Texas
Enough
she
with
get-
this narrative that Bailey Moppin is not strong. She's gonna get stronger as she gets older, but this whole narrative, she is so much stronger than she was this time last year. Some of these charges
Right.
she's taken this year would have put her in the hospital last year. Like she's getting stronger. She's just never gonna look like a bodybuilder. But that play, you see her down there posting people up and getting.
Oh, and that shot fake, dude. She got him with the shot fake too. It's like,
victory.
oh,
you and those
We're gonna
fundamentals.
get
Nothing.
intermission.
Nothing
I love it.
makes the
I
city
love
happier.
it. Yeah, big fan. But yeah, even
fan.
we're talking about Jada, and her dad is a assistant coach, associate coach for UC Irvine, and
Mhm.
This I think was the first game too that we saw like, hey Jada, love this. Like, can't wait
This
to
is why
see.
we brought you here.
Can't wait to see you grow from this. She was 3 for 5 at the 3-point line and had 4 rebounds. And so it's like, it's so nice knowing, okay, this is a transfer. I don't know if it's just me, but I always just worry about transfers being able to fit into the mold of whatever the program is and to be
For sure.
successful. I think that has got to be such a hard transition. And for that to happen for Jada, she's popping off in this game and her dad's there. It was so cute at the end of the game. They were, giving high fives and the line is super backed up. And I'm like, what's going on? And it's Jada's dad giving a hug
like
to every
everybody.
Tech player. Yes. He should have gone last. All these other players are like, what's happening?
They're like, "Come on,
family
man, I wanna get to the
reunion.
locker room."
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that's also a cool nod because with Jada's history, like her parents are such a important piece of why she's able to hoop like this and do it in her own way at her own school and to be able to play against your dad's team. Yeah, I'm sure the holiday season is going to be really fun for her. I hope she just goes around the table, just keep that hand up, Jada. Keep it up. Hold that form. Hey, can you pass the turkey? Can you pass the beans? Yeah.
Yeah.
But really cool to
Hopefully
see
she
that from
gets-
her in that
yeah.
game.
It was big for her. She was great, like you said, all around. Just was that was a great game. I think her and Kyla maybe shared the Dominator award that game, I believe, because Kyla went 12 and 13. She had a double, and Jada had her career high for threes in a game with 3. But like you said, she had 4 rebounds, 2 assists. She's just an all-around player, like kind of previewed before the season. We're starting to see that as she's getting healthier and getting more up to game speed because she didn't get a lot of practice in before the season, and she's just going to keep getting better. She's a shooter. She's a pure shooter. You saw it in this game. You'll see her start off the next game as we'll go into it now. Houston Christian, she just carried that confidence straight over. She hits a bucket at the very beginning of this game.
Does HCU.
They're very
Which makes sense.
capable of
Yeah.
making.
There, Jada starts it off
Win
there.
for 3, nothing but the bottom of the net. Pressure again, broken by Collins. Quick hands.
And then she
by
gets a
Wynn.
steal.
Wynn's got Merritt on the left side. Merritt uses that
Get in
left
there.
arm, creates space off the glass. Half now. They're going to have to
love
hurry. They've got 2 to get it over. Take it
We
away.
love Chevalier in this
Chevalier.
game. Really kind of brought the
Chevalier.
heat
Mhm.
when we needed it because we did not start this
Needs
game
these
well at all.
games to be a big decisive win because she said, I've got to play
Little
some of the
transition
younger
game.
players to see
Gotta
how
love
we-
it.
how
Oh,
Love it to
look.
see it.
Oh, look at her
Right.
growing. Remember early in the season? What would she have done there, Sibby?
A pass somewhere
Or no, she
over.
would have ran
or
and stepped on the baseline and gotten a turnover. And
that could have happened
Gotta have
too. Yeah.
opportunities to
And then she turned
continue to
around
prove
and got-
themselves too.
she's
Get it
growing
to
right
go.
before our eyes. We love it.
I love it.
Rebound, control.
Oh, not in
By
Jordan Merritt's house.
Collins,
Like that's
no.
just not gonna happen.
Clock is
She's
7.
so casual about him. I
She's
could
so
watch Jordan
casual
Merritt
about
block
every-
shots
Side
all
Collins,
day.
pretty line with a
Look at
left
that
hand.
pass. This was a big game for
Ooh.
Big Jazz right here.
Had
Great pass from
position.
Saga.
Yes.
Was the
Yes.
She had,
This
she
was a
had
big
10,
game for her.
10 points in
That
this game
made
or
it.
12 points
The
in this
philosophy
game.
they've bought into the press and creating offense off of
Love
that.
the passing. Just,
Maupin comes
that's
up with a loop.
one thing. If you notice nothing from this highlight package, watch the passing in this
Yes.
game. All of our games. This is the first game of 2 in a row where, as a team, we have 25 assists, and in both games, we're pretty low on turnovers too. I think. Let's see. This game we only had 12 turnovers. Yeah, 12 turnovers in the game. Maybe. Hold on, please hold. 13
Yeah.
turnovers. I can't read. Only 13 turnovers in the game. In this
Wow.
one, and I think we had like 12 in the first half. We only had 1 in the second half.
Whoops.
It's a trend here. We just got to start faster.
Hey, that
But we
halftime. Yeah.
cleaned it up. Yeah, whatever's going on in those half times, Gerlich and staff are really coaching them up. But hopefully they can learn from the jump
Yeah.
there sooner. But the passing is just great.
Loose ball.
Yeah.
Reset the shot clock at 20. Oh, Bailey.
You
is
gotta
a-
mark her up, y'all. You gotta.
You know, you see what happens on this play though. It is an all-time IQ moment from Kyla Freeland. It's technically
Oh.
illegal, but they're never going to call it. Watch
Okay.
Kyla Freeland down here, box this girl out and move her out of the way. That's an illegal screen, but they're just not going to call it.
Wynn's comes up with a loose ball.
She
Reset
clears
the
that
shot
girl
clock
out of
at
the way,
20. Oh,
so Bailey can go in
Bailey
there.
is stuck behind everybody. Standing player, but
That's
the
why Bailey
problem
gives her
is
a high five. Actually.
She's got to stay in the game. Foul
I see.
fly. Bailey Maupin with the 3.
Look at Saga back
The
there.
season.
I posted a clip today on her doing
I
that.
saw.
She does that dance. I don't know what that is, but we
And
need more
now
of
they're
it.
pouring it out.
has that.
Shavers
right now
took
from
over in
team.
this game. I believe it was this game.
13-0 to
Might have been
start
Sam
the
Houston
third
all
quarter.
runs together.
Another turnover on cue. Freeland. Nice defense. Riley McKinney out of Argyle, Texas. Nice
Ooh.
dish.
Just enjoy the
Jordan
passing.
Merritt.
Just enjoy the
A lot of
passing.
Power 5 schools early on, and it's only going to make her team better in the long run.
It's
in
all.
Commerce.
It's all. Look.
She's
Look.
got
Look
The
at
beauty in the pass, baby.
Look at this one.
Tech got another scoring run. This one 6-0.
Take her, Jordan.
Merritt.
Take her.
Left hand.
Can't
She
guard
will.
you.
She will.
Can't guard you. They
How
can't
we're
guard her
defending,
when she
how
gets it
we're
out there.
executing.
The
And again,
passing.
they seal off
Big
on the
Jazz, love
inside.
it.
Jasmine
She
Lewis.
looked more confident on offense in this game. You love that.
She
from
looked
her.
great
Oh, look,
this game.
another great
Inside,
pass.
Kyla Freeland.
Weird.
Mr. Tulane.
I'm telling you.
Oh, look, another great pass. Kelly
Inside,
Mora.
off
Kelly!
the glass, the first point
Might
for
need to be
Kelly
seeing more of
Mora.
her is
Really
all I'm
fun
gonna say.
tonight.
No, they've struggled a
Oh,
bit
what a
offensively.
rejection by
Replay.
Jordan.
I could
Mora
watch.
really
I could
fun
watch a
tonight.
clip,
No, they-
just like a
Oh,
highlight reel of just
what a
Jordan Merritt
rejection by
blocks.
Merritt.
They're just so casual.
Shavers
So
plants
good
the
at
feet,
'em.
fires away, buries
Good to
it.
see
Need to
Shavers
play
getting it
a
going
lot
there.
of players.
Yep.
Oh, here's
Nice
the.
pick again.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my gosh.
Pass from Watch Saga. She might be one of the best
Big
passers
fan.
on the team, to be honest. She doesn't.
Big
she
fan.
always seems to always be making great passes. This great in transition long bounce pass to Logan, who, prepare yourself, people, is then going to take the great pass and reverse layup on the other side of the goal. It's just
Nice
pretty. It's
job
just showtime.
defensively.
It's showtime.
Spoiler alert.
Comes up with a steal, ends up in the points.
Her
And then we're not done. How about another showtime moment from freshman to freshman? Kelly
Fine.
Mora, mind you, makes great passes. Backup
She is.
passes. You know, she came
does.
from Monterey. She played with little Chavez. Maybe that's where she comes from. That offense, they do a lot of that. This great back cut to her fellow freshman, Logan Johnson, who just
Look
spin
at
cycle.
look at
Showtime
Logan
to the
right now.
max. She knows
Look
she's
at-
about to just
she's about to
destroy
eat it up.
entire life. This girl tries to recover, and Logan's like, nah.
female.
Oh. Oh.
And one.
So the Lady Raiders, they'll
Love
go
it.
Wow.
So, yeah,
That's
that was
what's
a really
up.
cool moment. We'll just play that again because I think it's worth seeing. They posted this a different
Spin
angle
cycle.
of this highlight on the team pages. Go watch it. It's great.
Ooh.
That's the
Ooh.
future right there. That's two freshmen
Wait.
combining. It's crazy.
Dude, run it
Run it
back
back.
one more time, Shelby. Look at the bench.
Oh, the
Look
bench
at every
goes
single
crazy.
Alina is cracking me up, dude. Like, hit it. I can't wait. Everybody loses their mind.
That's everybody. Just did you? That was me. That was me too, Enrique. I see you. That was me. I
We
was
feel
like,
that.
Did you see that? Did you see
Everybody, everybody in that arena felt what Enrique was able to show us in
Great.
interpretive
Let's watch it.
cheer.
Let's watch the
Just one more
bench
time.
again.
Everybody's up. She's like, did anybody else see that? Help!
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 I don't think that's illegal. Is that legal? Is that? Did you, somebody?
In Finland.
That's.
I'm just kidding. I love that, dude. Like, that's my favorite part every single time is like the hype of this team. And
No, that's
yeah,
a good point.
good
You
stuff.
can, if you not go into games, like if I lived in the state, much less across
know
the
you
country, I'd
would.
be there. But
I
if
know
you're
you
in
would.
Lubbock, you're really missing a show. And I'm starting to see, it's like people are noticing that the crowds are getting better every game. I
Good.
think we're already third in attendance in the Big 12, but let's be first, you know? Like,
Let's
keep
do
bringing
it.
it up there, y'all. I appreciate what y'all are doing for this team, but it's like not even just supporting them. Like, you should just go because it's fun.
Oh,
Like,
it's so
this
much
is
fun.
a fun team to watch. Plays like that are happening on the regularity. They're passing the ball. They're sharing the ball. It just makes it a fun brand to watch. So
Yeah,
we end up
I
winning
agree.
that game 79-34.
that'll do.
Houston Christian went on their next game to beat Wichita State. So maybe they're not as bad as we thought they were. I saw that score the other day and I was like, intrigued.
Eyebrow raise.
So I
Yeah.
don't know if State was not playing people, and then they played Kansas pretty close as well. But I
Okay.
did notice Kansas did not play Tiani Jackson, the girl that we couldn't stop last year, so she got
Correct.
the game off. So that might have been what happened in Wichita too. But anyway, they're out
Hey.
there playing other Power 5
Yeah.
schools or D1 schools and holding their own. So we took care of them at home, and then that was
Dude.
and Houston Christian was 1 day of rest between UCI to this one, and then we still did
Oh
that.
my
So
gosh,
it was just
yeah.
impressive what this team has been able to do on the short rest they've gotten. And then it's not over. They did get some time off, about 4 or 5 days off before this last one. And they played Sam Houston on Tuesday. In this game, started a little slow.
Dude.
And then they just really just somewhere in the middle of that game took over. And I think you can give a lot of credit to Jasmine Shavers, really took over in this game. She had 12 points in the second quarter and really, really let us breathe and be like, okay. Because she's been doing work in the last couple of games on the boards. She's getting assists. She's getting steals. Her shot hasn't been falling, but this game she was way more aggressive. She had a couple threes in that quarter. Got an and one on three, as you'll see in the highlights. And really steadied the pace and like let people kind of calm down a little bit and be like, yeah, we're fine. And then we took over from there. So shout out her. I thought obviously there's a lot of talk about Bailey Maupin in this game. I get it. I'm here for it. Trust me.
We know.
Big fan. But Jasmine Shavers took over in the second quarter of this game and really allowed us to kind of take off. So shout out her, and you'll see a lot of that in the highlights. But
yeah. She really did. 22 points, like you said, 5 rebounds. Jasmine Shavers. This is a game that we saw kind of consistently last season. So I know we've talked about that so many in every single recap is the consistency
She's just
that
quietly
is
out there working.
quiet.
I really respect.
Yeah.
I really respect Jasmine Shavers' game this year because she told us it's one thing to say it, and you're like, okay, cool. Everybody says that. It's another thing to see it, but she told us in her interview that she wanted to have an all-around game, and she wanted on nights where she wasn't scoring, fine, I'm going to
find her
get
somewhere
rebounds.
else.
I'm going to play defense. I'm going to find a way for us to win some. We'll go clip that because she said it, her words. You can go watch the interview, but she said that, and you've seen that in every game this year. Yeah, her shot the last 2 games prior to Sam Houston maybe wasn't falling. She wasn't getting the calls she usually gets at the basket. The refs were letting the other team kind of hack her, and she wasn't getting those calls. She didn't let it frustrate her. She kept playing defense. She kept going after rebounds. She's one of the best rebounding guards in the country. And she just kept doing what she does. And in this game, okay, now she's getting some of the calls. The shots are falling. She's back to scoring. And she still averages. Her and Bailey are basically right there together. I think it's like 15.8 and 15.6 points a game for each of them. So
Monsters.
We're really lucky to have those 2 sophomores. And I looked it up. In the Big 12, they're the 2 leading scorers for sophomores in the Big 12. And when you add it, when you stretch it out to freshmen and sophomores, they're 2 and 3, right barely behind one of the Iowa State freshmen.
Wow.
And furthermore, we're the only team in the Big 12 with 3 players in the top 15 of freshmen and sophomores in scoring because Kyla's like 13th or something out of that group. So
cool.
If you want to know how bright our future is, the future is now as well because they're all playing and playing well. But no other team has sophomores doing what our sophomores are doing in this conference. And that also extrapolates out to the country, too, because I did that, and they're like one of the only teams, us and LSU, with 3 sophomores like in the top 30-something in scoring out of sophomores in the country. So I'm just saying it's a special group of sophomores we have. Jada Wynn's in that group. JoJo, who's out injured this year, is in that group. I mean, the list goes on. Like that whole class is really special. And then you have the freshmen, you have the juniors. It's just all of them, the whole team. But when you look at these 2 specifically, it is kind of crazy.
You keep like saying, I forget what year they are in college, and so you're talking like they're sophomores and freshmen, junior, all of this. I'm like, oh my gosh, like what a nice reminder of what is happening right now. This is so special to already see. I think you're totally right, like how special this team is, and specifically with some of the players that are really showing out right now. And we've seen show out performances by all of these players so far. So it's like, who's got next? But we'll be here. Can't wait. But I don't know. It's just a cool thing to see.
We got a fun one coming in next year too. So it's just fun. That's why they're fun to watch. I think that's also a reason they're a fun team to watch because you know that, with exception to Jasmine Lewis, who is unfortunately the only one that doesn't have eligibility after this year, everybody else, if they so choose, has eligibility remaining. So it's fun to be like, wow, they're getting really good this year, but we don't have to say bye. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like we can keep watching the progression. So that's what makes them a fun team to be a fan of for sure.
You're totally right.
So let's watch some of these highlights. There's a lot that happens in this game. You're going to see
Bailey
Maupin chase a triple-double, so you're going to see a ton of passes from her. Kyla Freelon is the reason she chased a triple-double. There's a lot of passes from Bailey to Kyla running down the court like the track star that Kyla Freelon is. She won the 300 hurdles, I believe.
Star.
Like legitimately won the state
athlete
300 hurdles. And you'll see that in these games, the way she can run with those long legs. Still, she looks fluid and Bailey just loves throwing it to her. So you'll see all that stuff happen. You'll see Jasmine just filling it up as well as everybody
Amazing.
else. It was good.
Yeah, Ashley had a really good game.
Chevalier
Mhm.
had there was 4 people that had career highs. Ashley Chevalier had a career high in scoring, had 12 points. A career high for Kyla in scoring was 16 points, and a career high for Bailey with 11 assists. I think 8 rebounds might have been her career high as well.
Fine.
Rattles home the 3. Very good Incarnate Word team will be here for that.
You'll see that we had one highlight in the first quarter. You just saw that Bailey 3. And then the highlights skipped to the second quarter because, again, the first quarter was bad. You're seeing a trend. We need to get that fixed. But outside of that, there's fun things. But that's definitely, I'm sure, a talking point for the coaches is we got to start faster. But we're into the second quarter, which was the Jasmine Shavers show.
Jasmine Shavers knocks down the 3.
You know, we're going to have good second halves, but I think they got to
Oh, dime.
Bailey Moppin, QB.
Chevalier count the basket and a foul. Well,
Ashley's getting so confident.
Wow, how about Elena Enrique inside?
There she
You know
is.
Rosenthal can hit because she had a season-high 19 versus Texas State.
Shavers.
Do it to
And
him.
one. That's her second
Oh.
and one on the 3. And she does the thing again.
Plays by her.
Ice in the veins, baby.
Johnson,
Mora.
inside
This is 2 back-to-back plays from the freshman.
inside of 10.
Ooh,
Not-
strong
She's
pass.
a great passer. Can we talk about how
Wow.
confident Saga's getting?
Oh my god.
No hesitation.
Yes.
She's catching these shots and shooting. She's hitting like 35% from 3 right now.
I know. She was
and
2 for
e-
3 in this game.
Yeah, there's another highlight of one where she gets one in the corner, sets her feet up really fast. You'll see it at the end of this, but this is a huge development for this
Correct.
team, and we knew it was in her. Everyone
Correct.
told us she's a great shooter. It's just a confidence thing, and she's getting more run. It's hard to come off the bench and like get 2 minutes a game and be expected to drill like she did in Vegas, where she did score 8 and 6, but. She's getting better at using those. She's getting about 10 minutes a game this year, which is her most, but she's using those more efficiently, and she's confident. She's like, oh, I got the ball, coach. Trust me, I'm going to shoot it. It's so important because I think there might be some teams that play zone against us because while we're going to be outmatched against some teams defensively because of the height differences, we're going to cause other teams to be a little bit outmatched when they're on defense because they're big, true traditional bigs aren't going to be able to cover Jordan Merritt on the perimeter.
Bring
You know
them
what I
out.
mean? And so there's going to be teams that just, fine, we'll just pack it in, play zone, and y'all are going to have to shoot it. And we have people that can shoot it this year, and Saga's going to be big because she's that's what Rutgers did to us. Because they had that big.
Yep.
She couldn't play on Merritt. She couldn't play on Enrique. She couldn't play on Kyla. Any of them. She couldn't guard them on the perimeter, so they went to zone. And Saga came in that game and had 2 big threes and forced them out of it. So that's what I'm saying. This is why it's a huge development. Also, we're big Saga fans. So East Side. And she's a great dancer and celebrates on the sidelines. Oh,
my favorite.
Casual. She's got that Jordan Merritt casual SWAT thing down. She's unconcerned. Like, can we just watch this again? I think we're gonna start seeing more of Kelly Mora because
I love it. I love it.
She's been really efficient on offense, but I think defensively she's been getting burnt a little bit, which is normal. Freshman, that's just what happens. But this game, she really stepped up defensively. We might have skipped it, but just trust us that she's been getting better. So I think we'll see more and more of her.
Yeah. Mora. Mora.
Oh, Kyla was really unstoppable in this. She's another
Dime.
QB.
Dunk it.
Bailey Moppin. And this is the point in the game where everyone in the stadium, Bailey, I'm sure her teammates started to notice. I think at this point she's about at like 12, 7, and 7. And everyone's like, oh. Like,
yes.
And you can tell by the way that
the
everyone
rumbling.
starts to cheer and how she starts to play and all of it. And here's another great pass, Kyla. Like, Bailey doesn't do this without someone to pass to like Kyla.
Yeah.
Another great pass.
Enrique.
Nice mid-range jumper. Ends up in Jada's hands. Look at Jada. Running the floor. Bangs inside. Got it.
Honestly,
Logan.
a good play by Logan too.
Yeah, and Logan got this was a good game for Logan. I don't know her final stats. She had 6 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, and a steal. It's hard to read this line. Is that right?
Yep, you are correct.
Yeah.
I
think it might be her best game plus or minus.
I think
she was 17 plus or minus.
I forgot about the plus and minus thing. Yeah, that's super helpful to
She might have got her most minutes as well. She got 13 minutes.
Yeah, it paints the picture, I think, really well with her game. And seeing that play, like when she was dribbling down, there were times where Logan's like, she's so strong and powerful that she's like, I'm gonna blast through here. Y'all are gonna have to foul me.
Bull in a china shop.
Yeah, you're gonna have to foul me to get this over with. But you see, like she pulls up and she's like, okay, wait, let me go about this a different way. Not saying she's not gonna
she's
hinder. Oh, it's so fun because Logan Johnson, y'all, a freshman, and she's just been fun to watch too. I mean, we're gonna say that about every single player, but Logan in particular, with that play alone, I'm like, there it is. Like she's figuring out some different ways how to adapt to get the bucket, and that's exactly what she did.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, because it's crazy to say earlier in the year it's only game 10, but that's how fast this team learns. Like even the fact that Bailey Maupin had 11 assists and only 2 turnovers in this game. Who in their right mind? I'm probably the biggest Bailey Maupin truther out there. That when everybody was laughing at me saying she could be a triple-double point guard, like all these things, I get it. I did not think she was going to ever have 11 assists and 2 turnovers in her 10th game doing this, and she did that.
I know.
And then Logan Johnson to be learning as quickly as she is, like you just said, 4 games ago she would have ran that girl over and gotten a charge. And you're right, she takes that gather dribble and instead of getting a charge, pumps it, gets an and one out of it. Like that's such huge growth. And that's credit to them taking coaching. That's credit to our staff coaching them and working with them on that. And that's why they're a fun team.
Assist number 9.
Oh, Kyla, look, another assist.
Look, another assist.
Merritt. 7 minutes to play in the ball game.
Oh.
Maupin pulls
girl, yes.
Her handles were really good in this game too. And here's another 3 from Saga.
Is this a Saga 3? Yeah.
Buckets, easy money. You can't leave her that wide open.
You can't. You can't. She will make you pay.
Oh, look, another assist.
Nice dish inside.
You know what?
We're going to talk about the assist numbers on this team, but oh, look, another assist.
Another assist.
Everybody's like, I'm tired of
and this is not like these are not all Bailey Maupin assists. This is the entire team. Chev hitting the 3. You got Saga doing her signature dance in the background. You just love it from them. We'll just let the highlights play while we talk, I guess. But yeah. Another game, second straight game with 25 assists as a team. That's my biggest takeaway. That I'm like, listen, I'm biased, but passing in basketball is my favorite aspect of the game. And so when teams do it at this high of a level, and we're going to have games where we still turn it over sometimes because that's just who we have, some young players. But if they're learning this quick, my confidence in this team's ability to compete in the Big 12 and make the NCAA tournament, despite all the preseason adversity they went through with injuries, goes up a lot because that was my biggest concern outside of the height things because of the injuries. But there's really only so much you can do. The turnovers is something we can control. I was just worried, can they get that? Will, as sophomores, they come to understand that this early in their careers? And you can tell that they want to win because they're buying in. Again, credit to the staff. So we'll see if that continues. But 2 games in a row, 25 assists as a team is great. And this game, I believe, they only had 12 turnovers. So that's back-to-back games with 11 or 12 turnovers. And again, don't look at the name Sam Houston and think, but who they do it against. I said this at the beginning of the episode. I'll say it again for people that just joined. Sam Houston came into this game 4th in the nation in turnovers forced at 26 per game. We only had 12, and they were still top 10 after this game because that's how high in the rankings they were. They just dropped down to like 9th. So, and they've played other Power 5 teams. So what I'm saying is, they don't have the offense necessarily to compete against a Power 5 team, and that's why they're losing these games. Their defense has been forcing people to turn over the ball against everyone, and us with majority sophomores out there running guards, running primary ball handler outside of Ashley, who's been a great leader from that standpoint. None of this happens without Ashley Chevalier showing them how to play this position, by the way. She's had game after game now. It seems like she hasn't had a turnover at all. Maybe 1 turnover in her last 3 games, which is stupid as well. So they have that leader. Yeah. But it's just really impressive to me that they did that, to repeat it for people that weren't here at the beginning. Is that they did it against a team that's their identity, is taking the ball away. And that's important because if you watch like a West Virginia in the Big 12, like that's their identity this year as well, is still on the ball, so we're going to need to be ready for that.
Yeah, the Sam Houston, there was like 2 players, Cisco and Diana. I forgot what the other one's name was, but they were like sinking threes. Like it was a very impressive performance by them in that first half, especially. So I'm with you on that. Like Sam Houston.
On that? They came into the game.
Of course, you're gonna have it. Tell me. Tell me.
That team, like I said, offensively, they hung around. Good credit to them in the beginning of the game. They came into that game 22nd in the nation in 3-point percentage out of 360. And in that first quarter, they hit 4 threes or something in that first quarter. And our coaching staff was over there like,
what the heck?
Because that's how I was. And so that's a part of it is like our defense, you scout an opponent, you're supposed to leave those people open and they're making them. So it's a little frustrating. You just have to laugh at that. And then we adjusted and that's when we were able to come back. But yeah, that first quarter, I think they averaged 4 threes for an entire game and they had 3 or 4 in the first quarter. And you're like,
smashed it.
Sometimes you just got to laugh at that. And credit to them. And I think they'll do some damage in their conference, just the way they play, especially if they get some confidence hitting threes to combine with their defense, for sure.
Yeah,
people who like impressive. Defense, we scored 93, but
yeah,
I'm telling you, our team is pretty good when they get it going the way they did. If they steer the ball and they shoot the way they did in this game, we can beat a lot of people. It's when we're not shooting as well, where we play those 60 to 50 games. But it's nice that we can do both.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think we could spend time talking about like we said earlier, about all these players, but this was another game for me that I was like, Kyla Freeland is going to be such a problem for everybody else besides Texas Tech, and she's the one I'm really looking forward to seeing how much she grows, because we've talked about her athleticism, but one connection that I think is really cool is, you remember, Shelby, when we interviewed Bree Scott, and y'all, if you are new to this team, but Bree Amber Scott from last season, an absolute icon. She's playing internationally for Spain, a pro.
Spain right now.
Yeah, she just got her first career double. I think that's what happened.
30. She had a 30.
Yeah, of course she did. But Bree talked a lot about like how Kyla was, learning from Bree Scott, and how can you absorb so much from that legend before she goes and plays pro ball across the ocean. And I think what's going to be really fun is comparing the Kyla now to at the end of the season, because I think it's going to be just completely different in such a profound way. I love watching her play. She's kind of another silent assassin in some ways. Sometimes you just like look up and you're like, oh shit, like Kyla's killing it in every category. And this was a game where you just saw a lot of that athleticism. She was creating those opportunities to be, taking those assists, to be in the right position to make the basket. And so I really wanted to highlight Kyla in that game of, I'm so excited. Like, I cannot wait to see how she continues to grow. So yeah, I was really, really impressed with her performance against Sam Houston.
Those are all great points. I 1000% agree. Kyla's development this year, we all were excited about it, and I think we've been on record saying she has the most potential of anybody on this team, just pure athleticism wise, and she's starting to figure it out. Like, she was just an athlete out there last year doing what she could, and I think she said, this is the other part, they're so mature and that they self-aware and that they're willing to learn, because in a press conference this year, someone asked her, what do you think has been your biggest improvement from your freshman year to your sophomore year? Which was a great question, by the way. I don't remember who asked it, but shout out you. And she said her toughness, and like for a player to self-admit that at that age is really impressive, for one. But she's not wrong, because she says in this presser, she's like, last year I was getting the rebounds, but they would just take them away from me, or I'd throw the ball away right after because I was under pressure. This year, I'm holding on to the rebounds and going back up and scoring or making the right pass. And I don't need to analyze it more than that, because that is spot on.
That's
exactly the difference from Kyla Freeland last year to this year is she's playing stronger. She's gotten stronger. You can see it in her. She's getting stronger. But she's also just playing stronger and believing in that. And then she's shooting a little bit better. She's a little bit popping out, but right now she hasn't had to do that a lot because people are keying on Jasmine and Jazzy and Bailey so much that she has a lot of space to work in the lane.
Yeah.
And if they're going to keep doing that, that's why it's so cool that we have so many scoring threats, is it really opens things up for Kyla to do what she does. Same thing with Jordan Merritt when she gets into the game. Same thing with Enrique. But Kyla is just like a special player in that way. So Sheena's
Totally
now
true.
averaging 10 points a game. So we have 3 players in double figures. All 3 are sophomores. And Kyla is trying to average a double-double. She's at 10 points and 7 rebounds a game.
This is amazing.
Sophomore.
Fine, I guess. That'll do. That's fine.
Future is bright. Future is now. It's just fun to watch
We know.
for all of them.
We know. Yeah. Really, really cool. So they play one more time before the new year. Yeah, I think that's right. No, they go to Hawaii.
They have
home.
a few more games.
Yeah, they got a
few
few more.
Because, so we'll get into some stats in a minute to let you know where they are before we close things out.
Yep.
But they do play, if you're listening and you have the day off, it's an early game, but they play on Wednesday, I believe. Next Wednesday. It's their annual, what do they call it?
I don't
a child
know.
care
Like,
game or child
kid, I don't. Wear
I call it a
ear
daycare
protection.
game because that's what we called it in baseball. Was we call it a daycare game because the parents would take their kids and drop them off at daycare, which was us as working in baseball to take care of their kids. So we called it the daycare games. I don't know. That's why I say this is the.
I think it's like
education,
like an education day. Yeah,
it's probably the proper term. But yeah. Anyway, there's going to be a lot of kids there. It's the players love it, so we love that for them. That's what we're gonna say. It's really. They don't know what
the other team,
but there's just 7 to 8, 10,000 children in there. Who knows? It sounds like there's 13,000 that have RSVP'd.
What?
If they all showed up, that's the whole lower bowl of screaming children and their teachers or their parents, whoever comes with them. And they don't necessarily always know what they're screaming at, so it's just like 4 quarters of
they
screaming.
know. You know what they do
For
know,
both
though,
teams,
Shelby?
But they're screaming.
They know to make noise at a free throw, and when any other team is shooting a free throw, it is horrific, like how well they can pierce that ear. So I would bring ear protection if you're gonna go. Am I an adult now? I don't know, maybe that might be what it means, but yeah, very loud environment.
I remember Big Jazz went off in that game last year. She had like 20 points and like 15 rebounds or something crazy in the kids' day game.
Kids lost their mind.
And they mobbed her after the game. That was a cool picture. And then I also remember the other team who they played could not make any of their free throws. And I was like, how do we hire these children to come to every conference game and sit behind just shift ends? I need them behind both ends.
Shelby's trying to commit a crime. Child labor laws.
We can
get them in here.
Cotton candy, a free spot in the game. They're not working. They're enjoying the game. How do we get this to happen and scare the other team?
Let's give these kids the stickiest, the messiest snack of all time, cotton candy, so that they can yell.
Is pure energy.
They're going to have cotton candy in the veins, baby.
Sorry, parents. We need these children to scream when the other team is shooting free throws. This is all about W's here. Yeah, no, it's true. It is a cool game to go experience if you haven't. If you happen to be off, it's at 11:30 a.m.
That's right.
Starts early start because I think most of them come over from school. It's like their last day of school or maybe, I don't know, before the holidays, and they come over and they do the thing. It's a whole thing that they do it every year. So it's tradition. It's one of the team's favorite traditions, and a lot of them have talked about it in our interviews that they love it. So that is going on Wednesday. Then they're off again for a little bit, and they play on the 19th or the 20th. Is it the 19th? I think it's the 19th and the 20th. They play back-to-back days in Hawaii. They play Tulsa, and then the big one on paper. Oh, both of them matter. Both of them are good matchups, but the one that people are going to be circling is Oregon State is undefeated right now. They have beaten Villanova. And I think a lot of metrics, they're not ranked in the polls, but I think they're like 25th in like the Massey ratings and all that stuff. So it would be a big win for our resume to get that W. If we don't win, whatever, but it's a good learning experience right before Big 12 when things get really tough, because in the Big 12, the net rankings came out this year for the first time this year. And the Big 12 is the only conference in the country with every single member in the top 100. Yay! But also,
I was like, oh no.
Yeah, that's great because the net is what they use to put you in the tournament. So that means every game we play is going to be a top 100 opponent, and that's going to mean a chance for us to raise our net. That's what we need. You need to play good teams to get in the tournament. We're going to have every opportunity every night to play someone that's at least a resume builder, not a resume killer. And that's important. And that starts on the 30th of December. So we have 4 more games from now to the end of the year. And one of them is the first Big 12 game of the year at Houston, which we'll talk about that when we get to that. But that is a big game. We need to start off Big 12 play well, even though it's on the road. So maybe Logan Johnson can go crazy in her hometown.
Do it. Do it.
Boom.
All right. What? Which one do you want to talk about next?
Let's jump to what we got. Men's basketball.
Yeah. Oh, you okay? I didn't know you wanted to do more.
We have some stats. I didn't know if you were telling me to leave, but I can go through the stats for the people that want to know. We are 47th in the.
Leave, Shelby. Never come back.
This. I was like, oh no. For people that want to know the stats, we're 47th in the first rankings. Are currently this updated like almost every day. We're 6th in the Big 12, which I'll take all day. Net is not the end all be all, but it is a metric that they use to pick you into the tournament. It's similar to when we were talking about soccer. If you've been with us, these are the things we start to look at this time of year to be like, okay, are we doing this? And women's basketball is hanging around there at that threshold to get in, right? So that's what you hope to see, even if their schedule, quote unquote, hasn't been a barn burner right now. It's been good enough to get them in contention to have a tournament spot and gain some confidence and learn a lot. Because this is a sidebar, but the thing I'll say about the schedule on paper, it doesn't sound very exciting, but the different defenses that we have played this year, I think very much has prepared us. And so Gerlich's not dumb. She did these for a reason. She knows which team she schedules. Some of it's to help out different programs and give them a chance to play bigger programs because she was used to be at those schools. I'm sure that's part of it too.
Yeah.
It's also the type of defenses that these teams played, I think, really, really prepare us for conference. And so I'm really thankful that we've played some really hard defenses. So other ones, we're actually 60th in points per game, 75.2. Not bad. We're up there. The big one, 24th, top 25 in opponents' points per game. So it's our defense. If you want to be even cooler about it, we're 17th in opponents' points per 100 possessions, which is a way to equalize it across all games, no matter pace. And so that kind of gives you a better idea that per 100 possessions, we're only allowing 75.5 points, and that is 17th in the country if you really want to get into it. It's a good thing, y'all. Just believe us. Our defense has been solid. It's getting better each game, and our half court's getting better, which is nice, in addition to the press they've been doing. But it seems like over the last few games, the half court's been doing more work than the press has. So it's good to see that they can break out both. Let's see. We'll skip some of these. Talk about them sometime. Big one, 32nd in offensive rebounding rate. Kyla Freeland, thank you. I know that's Kyla Freeland's a big part of that, but Jasmine Shavers, as we talked about, as a guard. Bailey Maupin's even averaging around 5. I think Jasmine Shavers is averaging around 6 a game. Our guards are rebounding. And you have someone like Kyla Freeland rebounding. You have Jordan Merritt coming in and rebounding. You have Enrique. Everyone's
a rebound party.
It is. And offensively, that's good because, you can go right back up and score. So it's getting us some extra possessions. An area we need to get better at is on defensive rebounding. We're like 98th in the country. That's one we can wait and see. Sometimes that one can be misleading. You don't know. I'd have to pay attention to our scheme more and are we leaking people out? And that's why we're trying. But the way Coach talks, she wasn't very happy about the offensive rebounding from Sam Houston in the first half. So I don't think it's a scheme thing. I think it's a we weren't blocking out thing, and we need to try harder. And they did that because I think Sam Houston had like 16 or 17 in the first half, and they didn't they only had 7 or 8 in the second half. So it's another one of those things where rebounding in general is an effort thing. It's like defense, and you have to block out, and you have to want to go get it. And we're doing that on the offensive end, and we're doing it okay on the defensive end. But that's definitely an area we're going to want to get better. And sometimes we're just going to be limited anyway just because of our size. So we're going to actually have to work a little bit harder.
So you say like these numbers, the placement, is it out of what? Division
I teams in the country.
How many are there?
360 is what this they use, is what they count. Yeah. So we're definitely above average in all of these. 32nd
that sounds great.
Really good. That's why I'm like 98th. You're still in the top third in the country.
Gotcha.
But
very helpful.
The top third in the country is going to pretty much be all the Big 12 teams are going to be in there. You know what I mean? So this is including non-Power 5. So you really want to be in the top 50 because that's where your main competitors are going to be.
Where you should be, yeah.
Yeah, so, but I don't really read too much into that, but that's been a point of conversation is our defensive rebounding at times, but that can get better. And then the ones that I love, again, going back to assist, this is such a better, like an improvement from last year, and you see each game getting better. We're 53rd in assists per game at 16.1, which is solid. We'll take that, but I think that's going to keep going up because we have 2 games in a row of over 20. So if we keep doing that, that'll definitely rise. But the cool one is we're 54th in assisted shot rate. At 61% of our shots that we make come off of a pass from someone else. It's not a lot of isolation ball. Last year, we were 253rd. That is what I say when these are completely different teams offensively.
Makes sense.
I love last year's team. Big fans. It's fun to watch someone like a Bree Scott who can just go get herself a bucket whenever she wants to. We knew that, so we let her do it, right? And that was the offense a lot of times. This year, it's a lot more team-minded. They're passing it around, they share it. It makes us harder to scout. People don't know who's gonna get the ball because we all pass it around. They don't know, is there going to be an extra pass here? They can't necessarily key on one person. They're going to try to key on Mop, and they're going to try to key on Shavers because those are our leading scorers. But as you saw, when Sam Houston tried to do that to Mop, and what'd she do? She dropped 11 assists and still got 15, but she dropped 11 assists along the way because she's like, fine, you're going to put 2 people on me? Well, I'll just give it to someone else. And so that's the difference in the teams this year. We'll see if that extrapolates out over the season and keeps happening. But if that does, I think we make the tournament. Let's put it that way. If this stat right here stays the same, in the same range, or gets better definitely, we can be in the NCAA tournament. This is the most important stat to me that is on this team is their rate in which they share the ball. And take care of it as well. We're getting better. We're like 69th in assists to turnover, which is, again, a big improvement. We're at 0.99, so we're almost at 1 for 1. Last year, we were 189th. So I think maybe last year we took care of the ball a little bit better than we are this year at this point because seniors and all that, but we didn't have assists. And so, like, this year it's evening out and our turnovers are getting better too. So it's a positive sign, and that's my biggest, like, if you care about analytics, some of them I'm like, but I like to say them because I know a lot of people love them, so we'll throw the stats out there. This is one I would circle and care about because I think it's a really big reason why we're seeing such growth from this team is the way they're sharing the ball.
And it helps to put numbers, like, for me to understand too, of like, what does this mean? You know, because you can look at a stat, and I thought of it of a completely different way, but I can see your perspective from it too. So yeah, I'm with you on that.
Cool. Well, yeah, that's that. I mean, I think that's the gist on the team. They're really deep. They share the ball. There's a lot of people averaging
good
20
stuff.
minutes on this team. There's like 10 people with 10 minutes. Just go look at it. That's when they're fun to watch. If you haven't gotten out, try to go to that game Wednesday or watch it from wherever you are. It'll be loud, even on TV.
You'll hear
I'm
it.
looking forward to it. 11:30 on Wednesday against Incarnate Word, who gave TCU a run for their money, mind you. Also in a noon game. It was ironically TCU's kid game. So this team is ready for it. They've had preparation. They've played with screaming children in their stands already once this year.
Is there a stat for that? That should get you into anything.
I don't know how they scheduled 2.
How many education nights has your team been a part of? 2, you're in the tournament. You're in.
You're in.
I'm so sorry. Get in
here. I don't
here.
care if you won them or not. You did it. You deserve this. You know? Yeah. On the road, they've done it. They didn't seem to. I watched it, and I didn't make the connection at the time of watching it. That's who we were going to be playing during ours. But I remember TCU struggling in it. I was like, oh, it's an 11 a.m. game or 11:30 game. Those are always tough, which is the other part of it. And the kids game thing, it can be a little bit different,
jarring.
And then I looked at the schedule, I was like, wait a second, that's the same team we're playing in that same game. So be ready. They really into the third or fourth quarter, they were right there with TCU, and then TCU pulled away late. They just looked a little not themselves. So I think we'll be fine because we're used to this game. We have a lot of players that are excited for it. They're not, hopefully won't come out tired because, again, our current word has been there. They've done this. This is their second noon game of the year. This will be our first. So, actually, our first real one. You remember what happened the last time we played at noon? So we learned from that.
Oh, true.
We don't speak of that game. That didn't count.
What game?
But that is a good thing to look back at and be like, let's not let that happen again. So, be there if you can. Everyone enjoy the holidays. and then they'll play in Hawaii. And the next time you get to see this team in Lubbock after
tell
next
'em.
week is all the way till January 3rd.
Tell them who we're playing.
The University of Texas comes to town in the first home game of the Big 12 schedule. So everybody needs to come to that game if you're there. I'm going to maybe try to find my way up there from Comanche. I'll be visiting family. If I can get away from what we're doing with my family, I might try to get it there. We need to pack it because the students won't be back. So we got to do our part as alumni and fans. So that's what I got.
Let them know.
On them.
Yeah, it's kind of wild how much time until we get to see them again. But good stuff ahead. And that UT game is going to be a good opportunity for us to really show up. So I'm excited for that. Yeah, it's wild that it's already here.
I don't know how long this comment's been in here, buddy. Sorry, but appreciate it.
Yeah,
wherever you are.
RG2. You don't know RG2, the person with the car in their profile pic? Shelby, come on.
Cool car. It's a cool car.
Nah, appreciate the love. Cool. Let's talk about men's basketball real quick, and then let's move forward.
Roll through as we do here. Men's basketball, it's been an up and down week for them. They went on the road to Butler, which is a really tough place to play, and they almost won that. So I took that game as a positive, to be honest, because we didn't really know what we were getting from this team. It's been a little bit of up and down. They've showed their moments, and then to go up there and fight the way they did and get that to overtime, and to be honest, they should have won it.
Yeah,
for sure. They just didn't quite get it done, and they couldn't make stops when they needed to, and I'm sure that's what all the film was about. We score whatever we did, 100 points or something, and you don't win. It's a little bit jarring.
It's a tough one. Yeah.
But the other team's saying the same thing. Both teams were just making crazy shots. Like, Butler was making these threes. We had Chance McMillan went in fuego. He had like 6 threes out of nowhere. I mean, he can do that, but that was his best game of the season for us.
6 threes?
So he was going crazy, my man.
Off.
It was great. It was awesome to see because we're going to need that for sure. And Pop made a shot at the end of the game buzzer, again, close to it, to send it to overtime. A lot of y'all.
Love that.
You need to give him an apology is all I'm going to say. But anyway.
For real.
Been doing what he does. As a sophomore, again, I think people lose that, maybe in men's basketball more because they're used to these guys being one and dones and leaving, and the development side on men's basketball has gone so far away that people expect them to be NBA players by the time they're sophomores, and that's just not fair. Just on the women's side, they're not allowed to go pro until they're graduated, so there's this leniency on like, oh, they're sophomores, they're to develop, right? It's a little bit unfair, the pressure we put on them on the men's side, because they can go pro and they come into college, the players thinking like, I just want to play 1 year and leave. And if they don't do that, people are like, oh, they're just not good enough to be a pro. I'm like, they're a sophomore in college. Like,
they're a kid.
Give them grace and give them time to grow. And so that's what I would say about Pop, is he's getting better, as a lot of these are. So
love that.
I enjoy watching him play. I think the defense will get better. I think Coach said that we need to get better on defense and play a little bit more intensity. Like when we get those shots, we need to know, like, okay, now we need to get a stop. We can't be happy until we make a bucket and get a stop, is the attitude he's trying to get across to them. But I like how he talks about the team, and it's very similar to the women's team. He talks about them in the way that they all just want to win. They enjoy coaching. They want to be coached hard, and they get better in practice each day. So that's been encouraging. They come out against Omaha. Is that last night? 2 nights ago now? And that was probably their best game of the year, because they've been playing some mid-major teams and struggling with them, or whatever was what people would say. I'm like, they get the win. It's a win. But they weren't blowing everybody out like some people want them to. They did in that game, and they looked good. They were shooting well. They carried over from the Butler game, except they were also playing defense. All great until...
dude.
I hate sports so much. We went there with soccer.
I hate sports. Let's talk about them.
They're just so unfair. These athletes put in all this work.
Yeah.
And then Devin Cambridge goes down and ends up being a season-ending injury. Came out yesterday, and you just hate it for him because he's a fifth-year senior.
Dang.
This is it for him unless he can get a waiver, which he does qualify to apply for one, but the NCAA will have to grant it for him. So if he wants to do that, he might choose to recover and go play pro somewhere. I don't know if he's an NBA draft prospect, but he could make a G League team and work his way up, or go play overseas. I'm not really sure. what he wants to do. He can also stick around in Lubbock. I'm sure we'll still support him. He'll be with the team. He sounds like he's a really big team guy, and he's still all about it. But he's going through it. Like I know. Senior year, he's transferred into Texas Tech. Like he's really taken a big leap, and for this to happen, I just hate it for him.
Yeah, injuries are the worst part about sports, and it's got to change your whole game plan, like outside of the game itself, like knowing how impactful he's been on this roster, and for that injury to happen, like you said, last year at Tech potentially, and how do you change your whole life in response to this? And that's got to be really tough. But I've appreciated the love I've seen on social media, and injuries with sports are brutal. That is the absolute worst part about sports. So big failings out to Cambridge, and a speedy recovery in the best way possible, and that is heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's tough. I hope everyone I think it was Lawrence Odiase, which everyone follows him, our fearless leader, as a Red Raider, put out something like, and it's from a source. He is a former men's basketball player at Tech, so listen to him on this, that it's true. And then he said a lot of young men especially will not admit it or ask for it, but times like this, they can really use the support. So
totally
never hurts to throw him a comment on social media that you're there for them, you're thinking about him. You see him around campus, of course, that kind of stuff too, students. But this is the time that, just support him, and don't send messages like talking about basketball, like, man, this team's going to suck without you. Like, that stuff doesn't help. That makes it worse. Like, talk about him as a person and being there for him and supporting him, and that this Red Raider Nation is there for him in that way, for sure. And if he chooses, he can come back next year, hopefully, it sounds like. And if he wants to go do something else, we understand that too. But you just hate it for him. He's only been here for a short time, but he is a Red Raider, so let's surround him with love and help him through it.
That's what we do. Even so, like, do that in a month or like 2 months when the newness kind of wears away.
And all that. Like, don't let him forget, because he'll be there cheering him on. And I don't know if he has to get surgery or what the plan is. So it's tough. But to move forward, that means now a young player like Kyron Lindsay. Everyone's been asking, why hasn't he been playing? Well, he has to play now. And I think that was a little bit of, I didn't want to put it out there on social media, but everyone was asking, why did we burn Kyron Lindsay's red shirt in this game? To me, that was a pretty clear sign that the trainer came over and told coach, Devin's done for the year.
Yeah.
So that's what I read it from in that game. And Kyron is the next man up. And they wanted to save him and save his year and not have to use his eligibility because he wasn't quite ready as compared to Devin as a fifth-year senior. Well, he's gone. We need that depth now. So he has to step up. And he's a great player. He's a former 4- or 5-star out of high school, went to Georgia. He started quite a few games for Georgia as a freshman, transferred to Texas Tech last year, mid-year. So he's been here for a while. Couldn't play last year because he was a mid-year transfer. So he set out. He was there through all of that, but he stayed for the new coaching staff, and it's just been working. And because we had those players in that position, he wasn't going to get a lot of playing time. They didn't want to burn a year of eligibility, but now it's his time to shine. So he has the talent. It sounds like they just weren't quite confident yet in his defensive abilities. And so he's having to earn it in practice. Now we need him to, but it sounds like he's been getting better every game, and he looked okay in the time he had in this game. So I'm excited for him. That's the thing about sports. Injuries are tough. Someone goes out, it's an opportunity. We saw that in soccer as an opportunity. Elise was already getting good playing time and doing great things. She got more, and some other people got to come in after her even as the next sub. So we'll see that. It'll be him. I'm sure EY, another Finnish.
That's right.
I don't know what the word is here, but resident in Lubbock,
native
on the native in the Womble there. We'll get more run at that position too, but that's where you can be like, okay, well, surround Cambridge with love. Also, let's just be excited and be optimistic around the prospects of him getting better. Yeah, it does take your overall optimism about the team away a little bit, but the way Texas Tech plays basketball, even with the new staff, you're in every game because of your attitude and your grit. So they'll be fine as long as they stick together and they can scrap it out enough wins to make the tournament is always the goal at this point, first year of a new coach.
Totally. Yeah.
For me, at least. I'm not trying to win the Big 12. That's awesome. They make the tournament. It's a win for me.
I'm a full send all the time.
Sibby says we're going to win the Natty, which
this is the national championship team.
She almost came through in soccer, so hey, let her cook.
Well, it makes me think about like you have to be ready for your name to be called at any second. And I thought like, okay, that's so true for soccer. And now I'm seeing it like, okay, we got men's basketball where that's showing up, people are
women's
having to
basketball
adapt.
Too, they had to
yeah.
go with
Like,
it before the season. It just
that's true. That's true.
They had it. They were lucky that they got to regroup for the season. In a way,
True.
at least this happened now, and they have a few weeks before conference, and they have some time off. They have a lot of practices now because finals week. They can't practice as much, but they have a lot of time to regroup and get their strategy together. But yeah, it's tough for sure.
Totally. Yeah. All right. Well, the next game that they have, when do they play next?
The 16th. I think it's the same day as the bowl game for football, but I think it's against an SEC team, Vanderbilt, maybe at home.
They got Oral Roberts on December 12th.
Still have that too. Okay.
Yeah, but then you're right. Like the Vanderbilt, they're going to be in the Coast to Coast Challenge with Vanderbilt, UT Arlington. I believe that's it. Yeah, and then back at home, they're home with the UT Arlington game on the 21st. Yep. So, yeah,
it'll be good. Yeah, you can catch them at home a little bit more if you're home for the holidays, visiting family. As the Lady Raiders are gone over to Hawaii, like we talked about, but the men will be back for some games before Christmas, so you can catch them. And then both of them start conference at the end of the month / beginning of January. So Big 12's almost here for both.
I know.
Let's just stay as positive as we can and take each game as they come and see what happens. But we'll be there cheering for them. I'm excited to see what they can do. It's one of those for both teams. You're like, we're about to find out. We're about to find out a lot about both teams.
Yeah, that's true. And to kind of like wrap up this year a little bit more is football going to the Independence Bowl. When I was typing this note, tell me what song y'all think about. Tell me right now what song you're thinking about when we talk about the Independence Bowl, because
came up.
That's a good one, but that INDEPE. Oh, you're talking about movies now. Anyway, they have a game against California. Are they the Golden Bears? Oh, he's like their mascot.
Something like that. Sounds right.
So that's coming up. December, you say 16th?
The rematch.
Why am I not?
Aaron Rodgers. December 16th. I don't know if it's a night game. It probably is. We played Cal in the Holiday Bowl years ago against Aaron Rodgers, and we won. I remember that.
Really?
I was not a Texas Tech person then, but I watched the game. Yeah, many moons ago.
Wow.
We upset
Texas
Cal
Tech made Aaron Rodgers. Is what you're saying to me.
We made him lose his final college game. That's true.
That gave him the fire to be the quarterback he is today. I don't know. Just my conspiracy theory.
Maybe this will reignite it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Speaking of injury,
so that's the history there. There's been a lot of guys entering the portal for football. I'm not getting up in arms about it. It's just the nature of where we are in college sports.
Yeah.
We have a lot of, especially on the receiver side, it sounds like we're losing quite a few receivers. I think the entire 2020 class is now gone.
Oh, okay.
So that's interesting, but who's coming in.
Yeah,
Hudson,
that's true.
And it's
that's true.
Other good freshmen. So I think they know, some of them were going to play anyway, like a Miles Price, but I think that's a business decision. Go get your money, buddy, if that's what it's about. I like him. I wish him the best. And there was a couple of freshmen that left as well, and some people are freaking out, but it is what it is. That's the sport we're in. Whoever wants to be here, I'm with you. If you want to go do your thing, go do your thing. But it could be a little bit of a short-handed team on the 16th is what we're getting at, because, we got new people coming in next year. I don't think we have a punter. I think both of our punters are out for the game because McNamara, I think, maybe declared for the draft, so he's not going to play. I don't really understand why, but I saw he's not available. And then our backup punter is transferring, so he's not going to play. Well, sometimes they can play in the game, so we'll see if we let them.
Okay.
Baron Morton punted in high school. I know this because he played at Eastland near my hometown.
Do a celeb shot, Baron.
So we can have our quarterback be the punter as well. He's a pretty good punter. I'm not going to lie. He was really good. So let him punt. And if they need a receiver, I have a background. So if you'd like...
I was about to say, not only that, but the whole Lady Raider roster could also catch dimes.
Yeah. Oh my God. Madison White. She's too busy preparing for the draft. Could be the punter.
Oh,
Madison,
the NWSL. Yeah.
You don't want her to get hurt. She's got to go get Shout out soccer.
Punt.
Yeah, we get the NWSL draft coming up in January, where hopefully we'll get a couple of our gals drafted, or they'll make a team otherwise. But yeah, that's what we're talking about.
That's
Madison
awesome.
White, all Big 12 goalkeeper of the year, could go out there and punt for the team, but she's busy.
All-time legend, never leave. Madison White. Yep. Yeah. Well, that'll be an interesting. I heard a quote from one of the coaches that was pretty funny. Of like, we're just going to go for it on 4th down. And honestly, that fits so much with our. Yeah, that is such a. That's what we love about football sometimes with this.
That's what we do
with this program. So. Yeah, Texas Tech is in particular. So I can see that happening too. Even though it might be a joke, I don't know. Who knows?
Well, but he made the joke because he's like, y'all get mad at us for doing it anyway, so we're just gonna go for 4th down on every play, just so you know.
I love that.
He's like, now we have an excuse.
Embrace it.
No,
embrace it.
It's fine. I wouldn't take this game. I mean, it
is what it is.
Just know what you're getting into when you get into this game. Both teams are probably going through similar situations. When you're 6-6 on the year, whatever we were in conference. I think we had a winning record in conference, at least. I don't believe Cal did. They started the year better than we did.
Yeah, they were 4-5 in conference.
We finished stronger. So hopefully we can get it done, but the roster might be a little shorthanded unless those players that are in the portal are going to still play. That's an awkward situation, but it has been known to happen. So we'll see what they do. I wish we had more practice time. That would have been fun, but that's the draw we got, and that's what we got. So they'll play, and then maybe Baron Mortensen, on the positive side of this, Baron can play, assuming he's playing, and then get a lot of rest in. It sounded like he came out and said he doesn't have to get surgery, but he had a pretty significant AC sprain that he's been dealing with, so he can get a lot of rest before spring ball is the positive. Get a couple extra weeks in versus playing a later bowl game. I'm trying to find that half glass full on the poor bowl game selection.
I can see that.
Rough, but that's what I got. I'll watch it.
It is.
As always, I'm excited. It's a little weird, but December 16th, but I'll watch it. And let's get the done.
I know, yeah.
Send the Cal Bears home sad.
That's the Golden Bears. What a cute mascot. But yeah, December 16th.
Spell it correctly.
Oh, wow. Yeah, for those who are unaware, the Cincinnati. Oh wait, no, not Cincinnati.
Sam Houston.
The Bearcats. The C is with a K, and it's really been on Shelby's mind. So I'm glad we're getting to air it out.
Some marketing ploys are silly and just don't need to be a thing, but bless them. They got me talking about them, so now people.
That's true. It worked. It worked. So that's what we got for football, and then I think the last thing that we have for y'all. A lot of talk about transfers and the transfer portal in general for all programs across the country. And we had that with volleyball as well. And we saw a lot of uptick of that conversation on social media. And we were lucky to get to talk with Coach Tony Graystone with Texas Tech Volleyball. He's the head coach. And we have that interview. It's out. Y'all go watch it. We asked some really good questions. Like, it was really interesting to hear his perspective of what has changed, like different laws or different policy, and how that's impacted everything. It's like the small thing that splinters off into a lot of different ways. So that's what I gathered from that. It was a little bit more clarity of like, oh yeah. That makes sense. Or some of that. But yeah, go watch that. It's on YouTube, but also if you just want to listen to it, all of where you find your podcast, look for Seeing Scarlet too.
We're out there. Yeah, go listen to it. If anyone has questions on that, he addresses all the questions on the people that are in the portal, and you can make your opinions for that instead of making them with nothing to make them on. So that's what the point of the interview is.
Yeah.
If there's anything y'all think we should know otherwise, let us know. But that's where you can take your opinion from on that. And we wish everybody best. We've said this multiple times. We know there's 8 people in the portal. I hope all 8 find the best school, their dream school, and their all conference next year. Personally, I really truly do. I don't care if it's in conference. I don't care if they beat. I want them to go on and have the best home that they can possibly have. Because especially, we got to know a lot of them, and they're good people, and that's sports. And I'm glad the portal's there that they can move on. And now we'll probably bring people in the portal as well that are looking for a new home, and it goes both ways. So. We're excited for that, but go listen to that. He also talks about the new class that's coming in next year. There's 6 new players, and there's some really talented ones in that group. So he talks a bit about that for the future as well. So, yeah, enjoy that. It's on YouTube, like you said, or anywhere else.
That's right. So that's what we got interview-wise. And then, we, again, will catch y'all next week. Keep your eyes open, ears,
Speaking of
all
volleyball,
senses.
yeah. We have
Wait,
an
what?
interview. We have an interview with Bryn Williams coming up
Oh,
next week
yeah.
as long as it works out.
Oh my
It's on the
gosh, that's
books.
gonna be
That'll be exciting.
that one's gonna be really fun. I was telling Shelby this, but Bryn's really funny. You know, like sometimes you are kind of surprised with how funny she is
Yeah.
because we just don't know them that well. But that'll be a fun interview next week when we do it and then release it. Y'all will know. Y'all will be the first to know. And come celebrate our 1 year of seeing Scarlett next week. Bring your party hats.
Oh, maybe I'll wear one. All right, guys. It's
Okay.
been real. Go grab some lunch if you haven't. Wreck 'em.
Yeah. Wreck 'em, y'all.